my family and I have embarked on a 100-day, 10,000-mile road trip, creatively on a budget, and we want to invite you along. Over the next few months, we hope that our adventures and the insights we gain along the way will help fuel you as you go from survival to thrival and live the life of your dreams. We've traveled over 1,500 miles from Tennessee to New Mexico, and we finally made it up into southwestern Colorado to Durango. My husband had never been to Durango, and so we wanted to check this little spot out. And I hadn't been to Durango in, about 20 years. I was here years ago on one of my first solo climbing trips to climb Uncompahgre Peak, my first 14,000 foot mountain. And so I have a few good memories in this area. And anyway, we got up this way and honestly just realized that our original itinerary was just too rushed. We had a lot of fun looking at the downtown and kind of just touring through Durango. But honestly, we got here and realized we didn't have the energy to go exploring like we thought we were gonna. And we didn't even really need to hang out in the downtown. Our downtime was to sit with our kids and just rest. It's almost like just having a homebody day at your home. We just stayed in our campsite and we just had fun. The kids biked around. We played pickleball. We played mini golf, or they played mini golf. We had we had pancakes in the morning, and it was just low key. And sometimes you realize when there's so much movement that just having how incredibly recharging it is to just be still. And so for us, Durango, a point on the map, it wasn't the wild places and there wasn't major things to see. It was just for us on this trip, a time to be still. And I think that is the lesson that I just want to challenge you with today and encourage you with, is feel of rhythm and finding a rhythm that you can live, that you kind of live by and that your family lives by. And, in your partnership, in your marriage, you need to find the rhythm that works for you as a couple. And so my husband and I both tend to be pretty spontaneous. Honestly, we're not huge planners. And so when it comes to this road trip, we've been figuring out campgrounds kind of the day before where we're at. We didn't map it all out. We were pretty busy before we left on the trip. And generally that's something we kind of fly a little bit more by the seat of our pants. But, we had really outlined our trip. We had a bit of a sense of where we wanted to go. And honestly, those plans changed. Just poof, suddenly new information came up. And with that, we just regrouped and honestly just decided that we wanted to do way less miles. We don't have to stick to that itinerary because of anyone else. And so we just kind of let it go. And so honestly, we've just had a super down day. We've just been moving a lot, looking at sites, being in towns. And I don't think we left the campground today other than maybe a quick errand to the store. Our kids were happy playing in the RV park. We're staying at a really great campground with lots of amenities for kids and lots of kids around. And so honestly, it was just a day to chill and not do work, talk to a few people, connect, read, and have a down day. And so this idea of finding rhythm in not only travel, but rhythm in life is so important. It's finding the rhythm of what do you need to do to advance, and finding a pace that you can go that's doable for the long term, because life is not a sprint. You have to really figure out the pace that you can go that's enjoyable. And I think that's I look back at a lot of the years that I did guiding, and there was I would do these trips that were super intense for 21 days or even some 46-day expeditions. And I was a student on a couple 90-plus day semester-long programs. And one of the things I realized, especially when I was guiding and I was instructing, was just how intense it was to do those programs almost without a day off. Usually on those programs of 21 days or 46, you'd be lucky if you facilitated a 3-day solo somewhere in the mountains for the students on your course, men or women or young adults. And that would be your one big break. And I remember in it all as a young person just going like, I wonder if this is the microcosm of how people live sometimes in the corporate world for 46 years, like that's basically, they just work their butts off without any rest, and they're working for this retirement and something at the end, and then they may or may not experience that. There's never a guarantee that you're gonna make it to retirement. There's never a guarantee that everything you've worked for all your life, that you're gonna have a chance to enjoy it at the end. And so I just remember beginning to be aware of this idea of of rest and the concept of Sabbath days and rhythms and days off, and just going, I don't want to work nonstop for 46 years in my life and then take a break. I want to find rhythm. Now, I can't say that we've mastered that. For many, many years, we've worked really seasonally. And so we get our butts kicked often and work really intense for 4, 5, 6 months. And then, we'll have a lot slower period of time. And, like as I've said before, I mean, I don't know how many years, almost the entire time we've been married, I think we've been able to take off 3 months a year, whether that was spread out or one chunk. And so we've been able to embrace a certain amount of rest in the bigger picture. And for us now, we've just realized we want more of that rest and rhythm in the smaller windows of time. And so we aren't as happy anymore working our butts off for 3 or 4 or 5 months to then have, half the year off. We'd like to find rhythm in another way and doing it, in smaller increments to have that time. I challenge you, where do you need to be still? Where are the places on the map on your journey that you need to be still? How can you recharge? How can you rest? How do you reboot? Because things are going to change, your plans are going to change, and you need to come up with a new strategy. In it all, I just challenge you to find the rhythm of your life. I challenge you to find what it is to experience rest so that you can more fully enjoy the life you're living and be more present and find strength that you didn't know you had, because you have you're recharging and you're rebooting and you're able to draw on that rest and the resources you have. I'm excited to announce that I will be launching a new women's only entrepreneur mastermind group. If you would like to be on the priority list for registration, then I encourage you to head on over to my website where you can sign up and get on the wait list. I appreciate you so much. I look forward to working with you.